Good morning. Hello and welcome to Love Morning. Welcome to Hug Nation's morning broadcast, hosted by me, where we share gratitude and set some intentions for the day and maybe share a little bit about what's in our hearts and minds. While we get started, start thinking, what am I grateful for today? What are the little things, the big things, maybe something that just happened yesterday or this last week, maybe something that might happen in the near future, maybe something that is part of your life on a daily basis, but you are just taking a moment to notice it and be like, I have access to coffee from all over the world at my local grocery store. I can pick from Guatemala, from my mind is blanking on me. Costa Rica, fair trade country. All right, you know what I'm saying. Good morning, Gerbot. And since I am a man of tradition, not really, but I am a man of consistency. So let's start with a song. And we'll make it up right now. Bum, 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 bum. Today we're gonna have a little bit to share. Da, 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 da. If you've got something inside, I hope it's something to care. Da, 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 da. We're gonna share good stuff or the things that we care about. Dun, 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 dun. If I can't think of things that work, I can at least shout. Dun, 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 dun. Sometimes a song, dun, dun, is disappointing, and sometimes it's so great. And if you are just coming now, don't worry, you're not late. You just missed a crappy song, crappy song, crappy song today. Yikes. Good morning, High Noon. Good morning, Gerbot. Good morning, anyone who might be joining and watching this archive. I had high hopes for that song. I have high hopes for this day. In fact, I'm not giving up. I am feeling exceptionally grateful for many, many things. I put in some exceptionally big hoops this morning. I've noticed that with my head this big with hair, you don't even notice that I wear huge hoop earrings. So I think these are too big. These are too big, but I'll keep them on for today. I'm grateful that my fiance is in love with the inner me. I have that thought every time I catch my reflection and my hair is like crazy and big. I'm like, oh, yeah, she must love me for who I am. I had this interesting aha that I'm still chewing on, which is a number of months ago, I had the thought, like, you know what, I've been cultivating this look for so many years of pink hair. What if I just let it go and see what happens? And I really started to enjoy the beard and wild hair. And I'm still putting the pieces together, but maybe it's not that big of a step or an evolution, because it's not like I've gone from look at me, I'm bold and wacky pink, to nondescript and mellow. I've gone to another big, bold notice me look. I have a light behind me, and I'm not sure if it's working. It's like backlighting. We'll see. What are you grateful for? I'm grateful for the theater. Last night I went to see Noises Off, which is a famous slapstick comedy play with my parents and Lisa. We went on a double date, went to dinner first at the Prado in Balboa Park and then to the Old Globe Theater. And I loved it. It is a incredibly well choreographed physical humor play. I mean, I gave a standing ovation quickly because I was like, how do you rehearse and practice so that it is so, like, the timing of everyone is, it's like a dance. Well, it's very much like a dance, except it's chaotic, but perfectly chaotic. Like, it's not, people fall onto this and this is this. It's a beautiful. So, bravo to the actors. Good morning, Derek. Derek says, I'm grateful that I had a good phone interview regarding my auto accident this morning. I'm grateful that my roommate's dog, Shugi, she brings so much love to me. Good to see you live, Derek, and happy to hear things are progressing positively with your accident. Heinen says, grateful for accepting the thoughts and emotions I have, really being curious where the roots of them come from. That's good. Yeah. I saw someone posting about how they were contemplating and judging themselves. They're like, well, they're noticing, like, often, like, I have a thought like, oh, I can't believe she wore that. And then I hear myself, I go, oh, I don't want to be the kind of person that thinks that kind of thing. You can wear whatever you want. And the response was, the first thought is often the result of your conditioning. The second thought is who you really are. And I like that. So when we're curious about the thoughts is when we start to make those distinctions between, like, oh, what part of this is a reactive pattern, a reactive response that has been conditioned into me that I'm slowly removing and questioning and diminishing its certainty, and how much, and then which are the thoughts that are actually the result of my learning and self-work and personal experiences. Gerbat says, grateful for dinner out with a friend and their family last night. I'm grateful for High Noon and Gerbat and everyone that participates in comments and responds to one another. High Noon just said, thanks for sharing, Derek, and good morning. I love that this is a gathering place. Hug Nation as a concept is a location that is not physical. So we are gathered in this place of intention. So I appreciate the responses that often happen in comments to one another's gratitudes or shares. And I don't always read, the communication between one another, but I read it and I appreciate it. Let's see, what else am I grateful for? Feeling very grateful for my privilege lately. I made a post on Facebook this morning saying, hey, post here, if you're anyone that you know, anyone that you are personally connected to that is doing a fundraiser, will you repost it here? Because I try, as I go through my feed, if I see someone who's doing a fundraiser for a Burning Man art project or a legal defense for someone's green card status or anything, if it's people in my circle, I try always to give something, at least $10, depending on where my heart and funds are, sometimes more. But I try to contribute, and there's for multiple reasons. One is I want to help, and the other is I want, even if I can only give a little bit, I like people to know that they're not alone and that people care. I know that I often get discouraged, when I put a call out, I'm doing a thing, or I've got a book for sale, and it does not get the response that I hope. And I can only imagine what it's like when you are humbled to a point of saying, like, I need help with burial costs for some, and there's less, less response than you're hoping. And I know there's a lot of reasons for that. The way the algorithms work, lots of people don't see it. So you can't take the lack of response as a lack of care, but it's easy to feel that way. So I try when I can to say something. I also, what I sometimes try to do, like if someone posts something about a passing or like if someone in the family has died, I don't always write a response because I don't necessarily think that a flood of sympathy is helpful or even read, but I do sometimes just post a hug or a heart emoji just so that they see one more person in this big expression of care. I think that matters. Anyone else have anything that they are feeling grateful for? I'm grateful that I put up a new Stay Sparked episode that feels good. It's about how to stay sparked in times of struggle, which I think is very relevant right now. I might give a re-listen to it since we recorded it several weeks ago. I'm really noticing the amount of work that it takes to stay sparked, and how it's a different level of effort than it used to be for me. Let me take that back. Let me think that through. Because in some ways, my baseline is much better than it used to be. But the circumstances of the world, at least the ones that I'm exposed to, not in my physical world, in my life, but in the world that I am reading about as far as the political climate and legislation and things like that, is often touches on things that tug at my frustrations. So it takes extra work to not get discouraged or hopeless. I've been thinking that the world that I grew up in, and the world that I was the baseline, the canvas for so much of the work that I've tried to do over the last 25 years of spreading connection and love and empathy and gratitude and gifting and the 10 principles and all these ways that I've kind of tried to use the internet and my life and work as a platform for promoting compassion and connection and peace, and that the canvas from which to work from is more difficult now. This environment is more, what's the wording? It is less optimistic. And there's parts of me that want to take that conclusion, like, oh, you've tried as hard as you could for decades and it didn't work. So why keep trying? Like, it's the same amount of effort is going to even be less effective now, right? And I have to catch myself and say, I'm falling into a belief that the world is a problem to be solved, that there is a imbalance that needs to be balanced, that there is evil that needs to be removed. And that model of the world, that understanding of life's purpose is problematic, because it goes back to a it results in a feeling of failure and losing. Every day we failed. Every day we have been unable to stop the darkness. And that can be super frustrating and deflating, of course. But if the model can be shifted to, the goal is not to eradicate darkness. The goal is to increase light. And that doesn't even mean the total sum of light. Like, doesn't mean we create more light than darkness is created. It just means that even if more darkness is being created, I am dedicating my energy to increasing light. The classroom of my life is my life. It's not all humanity. I'm not being judged by all of humanity. And judge is the wrong word. But I mean, I cannot evaluate the value, the effectiveness of my life based on the results of the world at large. I can only look at the use of my life based on the intention of each day as it adds up over a lifetime. So if each day I'm trying to be kind, each day I'm trying to spread light, each day I'm trying to heal my own wounds and traumas and trying to encourage and cheerlead those that are being courageous in the world, then the scorekeeping can disregard what the news is telling me about bad guys winning. And I can say, it's direction, not distance. Am I going in the right direction? It doesn't matter how far. Am I going in the right direction? Okay. That's it. Because I don't think the objective of a lifetime is to complete any tasks. It is a practice. It is like we want to build the muscles of our spiritual hearts. And the results of that are not evaluated from within this lifetime. It is based on something bigger and deeper and longer and way beyond our comprehension. So if we take the opportunities of this lifetime to not get overwhelmed by darkness, not get discouraged by the score being against us, and instead say, do I have an opportunity to play my hardest? Maybe not even hardest, because I think that gets hard too. Or it's easy to judge, like, I'm not trying my hard, I'm not playing my hardest. I could be marching every day. I could be, I could be playing harder. But am I walking in the direction of what I believe to be good, what I believe to be valuable, what I believe to be the values, the essence, the juice of being alive and being human? And if I can say, for the most part, I'm doing that, I head in that direction, then we win. Gearbot saying, 100%. So true, says High Noon. Yeah, I definitely need to tell myself that periodically, because like if I go on what I know to be about the world in America based on what I was, what the board of this game that of America culture that we were playing in, under Obama. Like I felt like we were winning. But that was a false understanding of the game. it's not, because now, if you compare it to now, it feels like, oh, we're losing, and in fact, it's impossible to win. Well, we got to change the idea of winning and losing needs to be recalculated so that we can feel good about the process, even if we're being pushed backwards as we play. Oh, Gearbot says, I am grateful for my local weatherman turned YouTuber and his regular morning briefings. I like that. Good morning, Sherry. Sherry says, waking up unstable and fearful, but grateful I will experience joy when I go see my son's dog this morning. She shows me purity and simplicity, grateful for animals and nature. Sherry, I so appreciate your authentic, genuine self-check-ins and acknowledging sometimes the struggle of finding gratitude and still seeking and still fighting the good fight and leaving the possibility for goodness and knowing things like, yes, even in a confusing world filled with things that sometimes knock me down, there is a doggy that reminds me of goodness. Andrew says, thank you, John. I like this perspective. I unfortunately cannot stay. In this vein, I like the story of the hummingbird. Short version. Oops. The forest caught fire. All the animals ran to escape the blaze. They stood a mile away staring at the flames engulfing their home. Then they noticed the hummingbird flying to the lake where he picked up a single drop of water because that's all he could carry, and then flying to the fire and dropping it. The other animals called out to him, what are you doing? Your single drop won't help. And the hummingbird replied, I'm doing the best that I can. I like that. That's a cool version of the starfish story, which is often retold, where the tide goes, it's a super low tide, and there's all these starfish that are just stuck up on the rocks that are baking in the sun, and they're dying. And this guy notices that there's this little girl who's taking starfish and tossing them in the water. I mean, there's like hundreds of thousands of starfish that are like sizzling, and she's taking one at a time, tossing them into the water. And the guy's like, oh, little girl, there's no way you're gonna save all these starfish. It doesn't matter what you're doing, it just doesn't matter. And she goes, matters to this guy. Sherry says, beyond the scope. What you're saying is why I love paleontology. Helps me get out of my current what the fuckness. Thank you for the message. I love that. Paleontology, I used to talk about the cosmic perspective. Like every once in a while, I think it's really helpful to read up, watch something about the stars and the scale of galaxies and the scale and the timelines of this universe, and just to really go, oh wow, we don't matter. It, like, in the scale of it all, the game that we think we're playing, even this entire planet's game is totally, it is statistically does not exist. It is zero. It does not matter. So if all humans perish, it doesn't matter. And so if we can really see that none of this matters, well, then the planet doesn't matter. Then the only thing that really matters is the experience that our consciousness is having during this incarnation. And so this entire galaxy, universe, the planet, the body, all these things are just a part of. It's just, this is the board game that we're playing on, but the scoring is not how you affect all of that. It is how your consciousness is responding and growing within this massive system. Derek says, I am grateful that I was able to give a little money to Scott's mom for her recovery fund for 85-year-old who broke her hip. Scott is a friend of Wonder Hussey. I love her. I met her years ago at Utopia, and she is a fellow love ambassador for sure. Good morning, Steve. Andrew says, the only thing that matters is our awareness. I mean, in some ways, that's the only thing that's real. And so, and we actually have a lot of control over our awareness. That's part of this practice of gratitude is remembering that the passive acceptance of reality is it does not result in the most let's see what's like. We sometimes think that as we know, as things are presented to us, as we notice things, and then like we have to respond to that. But in a reality, as we said, in a universe that is so vast, and a consciousness that can only perceive a teeny tiny amount. In fact, even of the stimulus that we're receiving in any moment, the stimuli, the physical bits of information that are hitting our brain, we can only process a teeny sliver of that. And that reality is a teeny sliver of the entire reality. So since we only can choose a little bit to pay attention to, it is critical that we use a little bit of our autonomy, our intention to choose, to direct our intention so that we are experiencing a reality that is fruitful and joyful and rewarding. And I mean, I think about, and I've mentioned it a number of times lately, like the comic of all these spirits just waiting in line for eons for an opportunity to be in a body. So then we get to have this experience of consciousness in a human body in this physical reality of this dimension. And so, as we know, we've just been talking about, there's too much. I mean, you've got what, 80, 100, maybe let's say with technology, 120 years to experience this incomprehensibly vast amount of information and experiences and stimulus. So during our brief 120 years of taking in experiences, we gotta be really, we gotta make choices. It's kind of like, I have friends that, when you're going to a music festival, they like have this plan of like their priorities of who they want to see and how to get to different stages and that makes a lot of sense. I think that it's a combination of a plan and trusting the flow. But if the flow is putting you in a place that doesn't feel good, like if you're at a stage, you're like following the crowd and all of a sudden you're at a stage, you're like, oh, I don't like this music. What do? Do you hang out with your friend and be like, oh, this music sucks. Yeah, I hate this music. Yeah, this is terrible. Oh man, look at that. Or do you just go, hey, let's go check out some other music. Let's go to another stage. Let's go see if there's some art we can climb on. Yeah, do that. Gerbot says, meaning comes from within. It is not intrinsic to the universe, but that should not diminish it. In fact, we are the most unique things the universe has made. Right? I mean, think about how much matter is in this universe and how much empty space or that we understand to be empty space, And the percentage of that matter that is alive and the percentage of that alive matter that has some degree of consciousness, and the amount of that consciousness that has self-awareness, like, that is a crazy degree of privilege. That is the goldenest of golden tickets. So it's okay to get frustrated and have dislikes and preferences, but also to be aware that even to be in a position to have preferences, to say, I don't like that music, that in and of itself is a gift. So considering you have that gift, should you minimize the time you spend saying, I don't like this music, and try to maximize the amount of time you go, ooh, let's dance to this? Which doesn't mean you go, ooh, somebody fell in the mosh pit, let's pick them up. And then dance. And then hug, and then go, ooh, I think I'm vibing with that person. I wonder if they want to dance. And as we're dancing, you want to have a little smooches? Oh, look at this. Woo! I got to touch another body. Woo! What a gift it is to be in this body. Woo! Heinen says, reflection on what you're all saying. I'm finding doing my best to share some loving kindness. The interactions like the one I had when I saw a bunch of women hiking and told them how awesome they are. Chris says, continued gratitude for the fact that my father is okay in his new senior environment. I ate lunch with him and some fellow residents, and the gratitude skyrockets when you see how difficult it is for them to even eat, communicate, or be mobile at that age. I think that's a healthy awareness. You know, when anything doesn't work and then it works again, is that you have this flood of gratitude. And so I think it is a helpful process to imagine your body in 20, 30 years and how the most basic of functioning will be incredible. And if you can think about what would that be like to be struggling to walk, to be struggling to chew with your teeth, to be struggling to do the most basic of things, and then reckon that is my future, and then pop yourself back into this experience to be like, oh my gosh, what a gift all this is. What a treat it is. Oh wow, this is, sure, I mean, I went to the dentist yesterday and I didn't get the news that I wanted, but I mean, this is relatively, it's not bad news. It's just the way things are for me, which is part of this incredible experience of being alive in a body. Heinen says, grateful for you, John, to connect as YouTube being to the Facebook human. I know what you're saying, whether I read it right or wrong. I've got a couple more gratitudes. What time is it? Okay. I want to remind people, or let people know, there's a new Stay Sparked episode. I have a men's group in San Diego on September 7th. That's a single day one that, like the last one I did. It's going to be September 7th. And I'm grateful that this afternoon I'm going to record a new episode of Hard on the 80s. We're going to be reviewing the movie Trading Places, which I think is the best movie that we have done. I watched it and I'm excited to talk about it. I think there's a lot. It's a different kind of conversation. Sometimes we talk about movies and we go, oh, that's so bad. Oh my God, I can't believe they did that. And there's some of that in this movie, but there's also a lot of, I think, really interesting conversations about, like, the Trading Places was a significant educational tool for me as a young child to see things like it made fun of rich people. And I think there should be more movies where rich people are the stooges and rich people are mocked for and even like class inequality is mocked and made fun of. And racism is mocked. I think that's healthy. It also, like, I don't know how many comedy movies deal with like commodities brokers and shorting, futures, and what's the term they use? I don't know, but it was. I realized, this is. I don't think I learned much more about shorting stocks and things after this movie. Like, this is up until very recently, that was the extent of my knowledge. So thank you, Trading Places, for being the basis of a lot of my understanding of financial markets. Any last gratitudes anyone want to share? Again, if you go to my Facebook page, you can see if you've got anybody that you know that's doing a fundraiser of any sort, please leave a link to their GoFundMe or whatever it is. I'll be here tomorrow, but then I am going to leaving town for a wedding this weekend, so I may not be back online for a few days. So my apologies. Good morning, Sarah. Sarah says, grateful for a wonderful helper to set up for my biggest art show of the summer. Congrats and have a blast. Good fortune to you in your art show. Andrew saying, Trading Places is still one of my favorite movies. It's good. It's a good one. It's still good. It holds up. I mean, there's scenes where, like, even though I knew it was coming, like when Dan Aykroyd, he's got this dirty Santa outfit and he's putting like meat in his pockets and he puts a whole fish, like a smoked salmon, in his inside, and he's on the bus and he's taking out the fish, and I know this is coming, and it's so gross as he pulls this fish and he starts eating it and people are looking at him, and the way his beard gets in with the fish, and he's like, it made me laugh out loud, even though I knew it was coming. I was like, oh man. Hey, right on, Pierre. Good morning. Pierre says, your package is on the way. Pierre is a artist of many sorts, but he just launched a company that has a LED art sculpture that I ordered one. I cannot wait. So it is on the way. Super cool. Thank you, Pierre. I will definitely plan on putting it behind me at some point so we can try to check it out, make it part of the set. Thank you, Gerbot. Thank you for this practice. Thanks for a place to ponder and remember and connect. Thanks for all the gratitude, and I'm grateful. Wherever you are, let's give ourselves a squeeze and feel the gift of being in a body, the gift of having such a fertile world of perceptions and feelings and tastes and rides of triumph and struggle. Be grateful for all the people in our lives. Grateful for that deep down recognition that while we're having our individual experiences, we are all part of this human tapestry. So let's feel one another. Feel, as you squeeze yourself, feel yourself being held by me and all those here. And you squeeze me, we squeeze each other. Take a deep breath in. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and all of you love ambassadors, thanks for being here for this love morning. I'll plan to see you tomorrow before I go on my trip. Love you. Thank you, Pierre. Stoked.